new idea of the student. So it's very different with the new curriculum reform. And in this case, we see the first thing we have to define what is thinking defined in the Vietnamese curriculum. You see a lot of exploring, recalling tests, principle and procedure and algorithm. We put a lot in the exercise. The students have to work not in the school time, but afternoon time, night time they have to go to the tuition center to do a lot of exercise and a lot of technique to solve the problem. And after that they practice a lot of exercise and skill, but lack of solving problem and lack of investigating task, more open, I will talk later. It means the curriculum of Vietnam now is very busy with this one. A lot of things is down here, not up here. And but the theory of learning, what is the knowledge funnel? The knowledge funnel is here, you see. If I have here is algorithm and practicing and skill, very few knowledge here, nothing here to learn. If you up here is heuristic, it means we have some way to solve the problem with the technique, procedure, how to solve the problem, follow the Korea and the scholarship, have to plan and then attack the problem and have the problem look at something. But here is still very few knowledge here. But here, the mystery here, the real life problem is here. A lot of knowledge here, and the student has to discover through investigated knowledge. It's more knowledge. And we back to the example. Maybe more than 15 years ago, we talked about the role of the communicating. A long time ago, we take the example of the broken square, and we break it into 5 squares like this one, and then we ask the student to form a square. But the rule is no talk, no pointing, no asking for people to speak. It means you have to no mouth, no think, okay? But only give it to other people only. You have to know what is the needs of your friend and give them, not take from them. So in this situation, we see that it's very important learning together last century. And learn together to stimulate the communication and exchange new ideas. So the communication and exchange new ideas is more important in education nowadays. That is the reason why we have mobile learning, handheld technology, using iPad, Facebook the whole night to share the experience and the new knowledge and new experience with our friends, our colleagues. And in that case, we see that the teaching flow will be different. If you see that is more open at distance, not only the precision and skill, processing the communication, new idea, critical communication, and have decision by the student. And we see that in this case, we have some example in the classroom. Let's say we have the question and the real life situation here, and how to ask the student. Okay, and here is some virtual lab to teach mathematics, but this I put here is not position. And we put the chocolate on the chair and ask the student to line up. Here is 1, here is 2 chocolate, here is 3 chocolate, and here is 4, maybe more. And ask them to line up after the chair so that each turn they take more chocolate. So the problem is more real life, but the student have to line up where to stand and then where to get more chocolate. It means the knowledge here is real life situation. Okay, real life situation. And the real life situation is here. And the teaching approach for new idea from this web resource is more creative and critical thinking. We consider more is higher order thinking, but the teaching approach is maybe many blossom everywhere, and the power is a lot of things here. More is the logical reasoning, communicating, investigating, problem solving, inquiring, exploring, and so on. A lot of teaching approach to encourage the new idea of the student. And here, in the assessment, we believe that level of competency required in responding to different type of items and open-ended task. Open-ended task here is many reasonable answer. And what is the theory behind? And here is the picture I draw about the key 5 key components that affect to the quality of education that encourage the student to open, to have a new idea. It means we have the learning theory, and then curriculum and textbook, teaching strategy. After that is the teacher training to have good all of this and have assessment. And the position of the teacher, the role of the teacher is the school teacher. Because in Vietnam, most of the nation, we have followed the nation policy and then go to the Department of Education and Training of the province and out of the school. And the teacher is the person have a lot of things to do with the student, but doesn't have any right to innovate the teaching approach. But now we want to move to this one, shift to this one. Teacher first, all of innovation, the teaching approach and everything have to come by the teacher. Teacher is the one always have the good innovation. And then after that go up here, and the nation have to take because of the teacher. It's been more, and here is the improve the individual professional by enhancing quality education in the classroom. Here is the circle of the lesson study. Here is depend on the teacher. And then the teacher have to have this program is the lesson plan, and then implementation and implementing and observing and discussion and reflection. And such as new teaching approach, innovation is by the teacher. And the teacher enhances the student learning based on the evidence of the student performance. The lesson study here, lesson implemented, open-ended tasks, discussion and interaction, student performance and enhancing the thinking. Here is I. And what is the theory behind? I believe that, of course, the last decade in the 1990, the constructivism, but now we have more embodied condition. So more is inductivism, and we bring the real work, and we have real-life open-ended problem here, and we have different forms of knowledge presentation, more in website, more model, and a lot of things here, and more innovation in preparing the lesson and the resource for education. And maybe when we see this one, we know that who is he, Sherlock Holmes, and do the more, the knowledge is investigated. The dead man lying face down here, full of blood here, and knife effect, multiple stuff work. But here is what is the reason of his death? Maybe natural death? No, not reasonable. Accident? No. Suicide? No. Suicide? No. Maybe more stuff. It means reasonable answer. Many reasonable answer. It means that with the adaptive learning, it's very different with the deductive learning. Here is top down the fact that we have the result, but here is going backward. Adaptive learning, whatever, and we have the new idea. Okay. And here is a sample in mathematics, in my background. Let's say we have the, sometimes we say the distance. The distance is big time with time. It means the area here of this rectangle is the distance. And here how to calculate this distance and of the time also. Okay, so here is the new idea of the approach of the distance. And with the adaptive approach of learning, everything is not uncertainty. I think it's correct, but I'm not very sure it's correct or not. So the surprise observation, the work of experimenting, and after that is process of investigating and discovering, and we have hypothesis, the new idea is up here. And I think it's when we teach with the knowledge with adaptive reasoning is 50-50 in open and mobile learning environment. Before we have a lot of deduction here, and here is deduction, but the adduction here, 50-50 mix is mean 50-50. Sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's not correct. It means that we start with an open-ended question. We accept the mistake of the student. We accept the incorrect answer. But so on, they will get the correct answer and formation of new idea. It means that we not teach only the correct answer, but they have to make some mistake, error, try and error, and do again, redo, undo, redo, and then they will have the formation of new idea. And with this, adduction and deduction, and so we see, one long time we teach with the deduction, we input a lot to the student. But the certainty is very positive, but the productivity is negative, and the context and sensitivity is negative. But within the abduction, certainty is 50-50. It's not sure, but productivity, creative is very positive. And the sensitivity, the making sense, is meaningful, so always positive. And with the creating new idea, of course, we start with something, and then you have a very diversion thinking and have many different goals. And thank you very much for that.